Hello, day 40. When we last left off, it was a couple of days ago, we had done this with the curve. And we kind of ran into a bit of a stumbling block because we weren't quite sure how to address this gap. So we did some thinking, did some drawings, had a couple of discussions, came up with a couple of possible plans, spoke to a few other figure-outer friends, and one of which dropped by to take a peek. Thanks, Bill. And we have a plan to deal with this gap right here. I'm not going to tell you about it now. I'm going to work through it because the plan may change as we work through what we're doing. But also in the last couple of days, I also had to run around and purchase some stuff. While the internet is certainly great, there is no substitute for actually speaking with people. Because our initial plan was to go with something like this. I may have shown you earlier. That's the ACM, and this is a piece of transition, H transition for FRP. However, this does not do well in sunshine and will biodegrade. So we figured, well, hey, let's get something in aluminum. It's all over the internet to get something like this in aluminum. However, not here locally. We live on an island. I went to all the glass shops. I think the last time they used this sort of stuff in aluminum was back in 2002. They only put me on to other glass shops and other manufacturing shops. I went to a lot of different places. Discovered that can't get it here, so we gone with the plan B. Also picked up some other stuff that I picked up. Some stainless steel screws and some stainless steel washers with rubber seals on them. Went to Home Hardware and got a non-ferrous circular saw blade. I've got a backup saw that I'm going to use for cutting the aluminum. I don't want to use my good DeWalt for that, but I have another one that I'm going to use that for. What else did we pick up? Oh, picked up some butyl tape here locally. We've got a couple of companies here locally that deal with camper supplies. Where I got this, they're the most friendliest and the most helpful. I've went to several of the others and they just don't seem to want your business or talk to you. Oh, here on the floor. We also have some 1.5 inch by 1/16 flat stock aluminum and some 2 inch by 1/8 flat stock aluminum. All part of the kind of plan that we're working on for the roof. There's another piece of aluminum right there. We also discovered this stuff. My wife found it at a local big box online. It's exterior vinyl house trim. What could we be doing with that? And this was the big purchase. Actual corner pieces for running around the upper corner of the camper pod. For you building campers, you're familiar with this. It's a piece of angle. You screw it down and then you can get a trim that goes right down the middle. This was rather expensive. Comes in 16-foot lengths. My trailer's 10 foot. How I got it home is actually dropped into the big box store where I picked up this. Got a couple of pieces of 2x4x8, screwed them together, and then screwed the moldings onto that and strapped it down, some red tape, and way to go. So today is going to be a bit of an exploration day. I'll show you how things go. So we got a plan, got a couple of plans, got a couple of backup plans to see how we're going to be doing this. And the only way to do it is to do it because there's no instruction manual. There's no, I don't know if there's anybody else that's done it this way. So we're going to try it, see what we come up with. Oh, we also found this piece of stuff here. It's for greenhouses. Now I think it's 4 millimeters, but we don't think it's strong enough. While it is an H channel, let's see if you can see it right there. And it will fit over the ACM. Don't think it has the rigidity to hold up, and it's UV resistant, and it's really cheap. But it's 6 millimeter if you can read upside down. But so that was somewhat of a plan. We backed away from that. So far so good. We have the straps taken off and a couple of the horizontal braces. Now we need to take off these edge ones and see if that stays put. Well, the first part in our figuring out the roof was to see if this wider of this flat bar, this is a 1/8 by 2 inch wide flat bar, will go across flat on the roof, given the bend. And with sufficient screws, it will. You can see it like that. So, and it's the same on the other side as well. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to rip another roof truss, actually 2 more, one for here and one for the piece, that piece right there. 2 inches wide and 71 inches long and about 1.25 inches thick. It doesn't have to be 1.5 inches. I'm going to do 1.25 inches, something that won't really flex as much. And then we're going to cut this piece, pre-drill some holes hopefully into the upper piece of the ACM and fit it all together. So when I get a few other pieces done, I'll show you what we're doing. But so far, step 1, it kind of looks like it's going to work. And you see those little bits of red tape? That's holding a little piece of ACM in there as a gap. We want to keep like a 3mm gap in there just for I guess expansion purposes. Although this is not going to expand, we're going to keep a little gap there for caulking and stuff like that. Do I have a piece of 2 inch by 1.25 inch board? Nope. Gotta make it. Well, I've got the piece cut for back there. And so now I'm going to be cutting that piece of metal right here for a proper width to go over the front of the camper. Now we're going to have the corner moldings right here. And I went and measured the corner moldings and they come in 1 3/16 on each side, which is 2 3/8. 2 3/8. And then I measured the full width here. It's 34 3/8. Probably one of the most easiest calculations I ever did. This got to be cut at 72 inches to fit inside of the molding. So I went and got my old trusty Delta saw. This hasn't been used in like 15 years. It's been upstairs in the garage. Let's see if it works before I put in the aluminum cutting blade. Okay, it works, no break, but that's fine. I'll put the blade in now and cut the aluminum. I've got this blade, as I said earlier, from Home Hardware. 10 inch, 80 tooth, non-ferrous. Maximum 6,000 RPM cutting speed. And this one is 5,200 RPM, so it's perfect. And it took a while to get things together because it hasn't been used in a while. And so I'll just pop this blade in now and we'll get to cutting some aluminum. Well, that was pretty uneventful. I was expecting sparks and stuff, but I guess that's with ferrous metals. So anyway, yeah, so it's a nice clean cut there. I'm just going to sand it a little bit so it's not sharp. That's a decent little blade. This benchmark blade cuts this 1/8 aluminum pretty good. I think so anyway. First time I ever cut aluminum with a blade. Works well. Just before lunch I made this little jig. What it's going to be used for is to determine the distance in that the trim that goes over the edge will land. That will help us in placing this piece of aluminum. And my wife did some measurements and she marked out where she wants the holes drilled for the aluminum. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to try it in a test piece right here to see if I need to move it to my drill press or not. I'm just going to do it on the very edge here to see how it drills, and I'll decide from there. I've got some pretty neat holes drilled here now. was thinking I was going to use drill press just to make sure they're perfectly straight, but aluminum's pretty easy to drill through. This is the cross brace that we're adding in there. We're just wrapping it in some aluminum tape just to help if any water comes in. This is going to be the up piece that's going to be up against the VHB, up against the ACM, and that'll just help repel moisture. And on the back end, I've got it cut for pocket screws. Now the next step is we've got this bar clamped up across there. There we have the extra bracing. I'm just going to pre-drill all these holes, pre-drill the ACM, not really go into the wood, just right across there. So anticipation of dealing with the butyl tape runoff, we peeled back the first layer of this. So now the butyl tape should squeeze out, should make it pretty easy to clean. Plus we have white butyl tape. And I've also marked the center point here. This is 2 inches wide, the butyl tape is 3/4, so we're going to have run 2 beads, one for each panel. With the waterproof tape stuck to the inside of this piece, we figured it might be better if we put our little spacers in here. I just got to get another one for the center. Then put this back up, butt it back down, then put the aluminum strip back over, line up with these holes, and then drill the holes in the other panel up there. Then take that panel off, or take the aluminum off, then gum it, then screw it down for a final fit. That sounds like a plan. And I just remembered we got VHB tape to put on here. So I gotta wipe the dust off that, put the VHB tape on, then we'll continue with the next steps. So it's getting pretty late in the day and we're kind of at the tail end here now. We've got these 2 pieces kind of taped together up here. We've got the holes lined up pretty much with that right there. So let me see what else. I've got all the screws put in here to line up with those up in that. Got the orientation. So now I'm going to flip it over and put 2 lines of butyl tape on this, and then go up there and screw it in and hope for the best. Got a bit of an overlap there, but in the center there's a gap, so this should fill in the gap, hopefully. Okay. So we're setting the screws here now. I think they're going in the same holes. Hey there folks, end of day 40. We got that up there, but we're having a little bit of trouble getting this to screw down into the bracing below. Not quite sure why. Don't know. Tried pre-drilling, but there's still a gap. I'll show you. There's still a gap up here. That I'm not sure what to do with. This board is straight. this board, it just won't pull in. I don't know why. Maybe it just pulls in as far as it's supposed to come in, but I'm not sure. So anyway, we're going to stop this evening. It's a late day trying to get that fixed, but I'm going to have to think about that a bit more, how to pull that in. I might have to get some, let's say, aggressive wood screws, drill into that to pull it in, then take them out one by one and replace them with the stainless steel. That's probably the next best thing to do. Not quite sure yet, but that, yeah, maybe do that. Fill the holes full of caulking and drill down through with the stainless steel. That might be the bet, but it's not for today. Anyway, that's it, folks. Day 40. See you next video.